look for the invite.
All righty. Well, I'm live right now, so.
Okay.
All right. Bye. Hi, everybody. I was on the phone with Rodney. He's trying to get back here, but he's a little bit caught up. So we're a little bit late on our live stream, but I'm going to try to get him to chime in, and let's see if I can do this. So bear with me. Nope, not happening. Got Rodney Scott's Barbecue, Rodney on the Rock. But I can't find you, Rodney. I don't know. Let me look at weights. No. Anyways, okay. So we were going to do a live stream today, and we want to get back on our regular schedule because we've been kind of been out of it a little bit lately. I went on vacation, and then a couple of us got sick. I got sick when I came back from vacation, unfortunately, but my sinuses are somewhat starting to drain, and I'm feeling a lot better than I did last week. So hi, Ilka, thank you for joining. So tonight we just kind of wanted to talk about what buying means in a seller's market. And what is a seller's market? What is a buyer's market? And how do you know the difference? So let me just explain that difference. A seller's market is when you have a competitive market between buyers and the seller has more of an advantage. So there's less of inventory for buyers, which are the sellers, and there are more buyers than there are properties available. So that gives you a seller's market. Right now, we are currently in a seller's market. Now, back in 2015, even 16, it was still a buyer's market, but the past 2 years have definitely been a seller's market. So what does that mean? It means that buyers have to compete for properties, and the sellers usually end up in a much better place because their properties usually value, their property value usually goes up because there is a high demand for their property. So when you're in a buyer's market, you'll see a lot more foreclosures, and that's what we saw a lot after 2008 and all the way up until 2016. Even now you can somewhat find foreclosures here and there. I've closed on a couple recently. I closed on one in January. So there are foreclosures still out there. But it's still very much a seller's market. So when it comes to buying in a seller's market is what we want to talk about today. Because you have to be so competitive with the buyers, you want to make sure that if you find a house, you have, first off, you've done your research on the house, you've done your due diligence, and that's where realtors come in. We come in and we do those due diligence for you. But after you do all that and you go to make an offer, you're going to want to make sure that your offer sticks. You don't want to just be throwing it out there, or if you finally find that house that you've been looking for and you've looked for a really long time, you don't want to let it go, right? You want to get that house. So when you have to compete with other buyers in a seller's market, you have to make sure that first your offer is going to stick. You want it to get accepted. So how does that happen? How do you make your offer get accepted in a seller's market? So first off, you want to make sure that you're pre-approved before you start looking for a home. And I know with a lot of home buyers, they just get really anxious and they just go out there and they look for homes that are necessarily not in their price range. So if you go and you find a home and you go to try to put an offer on it, but you don't have a pre-approval, guess what? Your offer is not going to get accepted. Not in a seller's market. It's just not going to happen. So let's start with getting pre-approved. Let's get you a lender that is going to let you know where you stand financially, and they're going to let you know what your FICO score is. They're going to let you know what your debt-to-income ratio is and what your monthly allotted payment is going to be. All of those things are essential when it comes to home buying. And really and honestly, if you don't have that pre-approval letter, then making an offer really is really not going to get you anywhere. So once you get to the pre-approval letter and then you find that house that hi, Ronnie, you joined! How do I get you in this thing? That's the question. I'm not technical at all. So once you have that pre-approval letter, you know exactly where you stand. You know what your numbers are, what your monthly mortgage payment is going to be, and you have kind of a little bit of an edge on other buyers, because not other buyers might not be as informed or might not have you as prepared as I would as a realtor. I don't know how to invite you. I hit at Rodney Waits, but it's not, nothing comes up. So I don't know. So when you have that pre-approval and you go to make in your offer, and first off, you're going to want to know what the comps are in the area. So you're going to need to ask your realtor, hey, can you show me the comps for this area? Because you want to make sure that even though the asking price is this, that the offer that you put in is in reasonable number within the comps. So a lot of times, because it is a seller's market, sellers will they'll list their home higher for more value than it actually is worth. You got to be careful. You got to make sure that you're not going to end up getting in a contract where you end up paying more for a property than it's actually worth. You don't want that to happen. So yes, there's appraisal contingencies and things like that, but you also want to make sure that you're buying either cash or conventional, that you don't overpay for a property. So like I said, getting a good realtor that is going to help you find those comps and those property values is essential. So once you find the house, once you go ahead and put in the offer and you find the comps and you know that your offer is going to be competitive, you need to figure out if there's going to be any updates in the home, or if there's a new roof, or if it's recently gone from septic to sewer water. All of those things are going to factor in, and you want to make sure that your offer goes on point. So how do you get your offer accepted? Simple. Have your pre-approval letter, know your comps, have a realtor that's going to be having your back, okay? And once you put in that offer, always put in an appraisal contingency. What is an appraisal contingency? Okay, so when you go and purchase a home and you have a lender is going to order an appraisal on that house, because the lender is not going to fund you a loan more than the value of that property. So if you don't have an appraisal contingency written into your contract, you might want to rethink that, because like I said, you don't want to overpay for this home. And you want to make sure that you're getting your values worth. You want to have some equity in the home, right? So even if it's just a couple $1,000s equity in the home, it's better than no equity, correct? Yeah. So anyways, you still rock. Yes, I do still rock. So getting equity in your home and at the very beginning is key. So even if you put an offer in and the seller's asking for, say the seller's asking for 178, and you go and you put that offer in at 172, and the house appraises at 174, and that offer got accepted at 172, guess what? You've got $2,000 in equity already built up in your home. So you want your offer to be very, very close to the comps, and you want to get as close as you can to that appraisal value. So realtors, we're not appraisers, but when we pull those comps, we're going to try to get as close as we possibly can to that appraised value that your lender is going to have you pay for. So if the value of that property comes back and it's way under what your offer was, guess what? We are going to renegotiate the price. The seller is going to have to, we're going to have to present to the seller what the lender is saying of the value of this home. And from there, the seller is going to have to decide on whether or not they are going to sell their home for what the appraised value is, or if they're going to say no, and they're going to want what they're asking for. So you can't make a seller sell their home. If it comes under property value of what they want it to be, then unfortunately, if the buyer really wants the home and the seller's not going to budge, then the buyer's going to have to cough up that money out of pocket, because the lender will not pay any more than what the home is valued for. So it's important to know these things, and I just want to make this quick and brief when it comes to buying in a seller's market. It is competitive, guys. The sellers, they kind of have an upper edge on you right now, okay? We are hoping for a market correction soon, and it looks like the Fed is going to somewhat back up on its rates on hiking, and that's what we're really hoping for. We want to make sure that we don't have inflation in the market. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants their property value skyrocketing and then they do these big mortgages and 2008 happens. We don't want that. So get informed. Know what the values are. Know your house is valued. Sellers, do you really know the true value of your home? Please don't trust Zillow. They will kill you. They will kill the deal for you. So trust in a realtor, trust in us. That's why we're here. That's why we do all the education, the learning that we do so that we can help you in the best way possible. So buyers, if you really want to make that offer stick, if you really want to make that dream house come true, get with somebody that's going to help you do that. Get on the right track. Okay? So anybody have any questions? Just send us an email, short message, anything like that. We'll be glad to help you and get back to you. Also, there's a lot of events coming up in our brokerage. We're going to be having a home buying seminar this coming March on the 9th. It's a Saturday, and we're going to have it at 12 p.m. So please come out, sleep in, and then come out to our brokerage, and we're going to be having pizza and wings, and we're going to have a lender here that is going to go over all of the home buying process. So this is just a little quick niblet of information, but come to the home buying seminar. Again, it is free. You're going to get fed pizza and wings and drinks and beverages. Who doesn't want to do that on a Saturday? So come learn and understand what it is and what you have to do when you're a buyer and you're trying to compete with a bunch of other buyers and the inventory is really low. So you guys have a wonderful night. We're going to start doing live streams a little bit later on in the afternoon. Hopefully that whenever you guys can get off of work, you can tune in and be a little bit more interactive with us. We're trying to work more on your schedule so that you guys can really be involved. We want you involved. So without any further ado, y'all have a wonderful evening, and we will be here next Tuesday at 5 p.m. as well, and we're going to have a lender as a special guest, Anne-Marie. She's going to be doing the second part of what happens after your pre-approval. Okay, there's a lot to talk about and a lot of information to give, and then don't forget, home buying seminar, March 9th at 12 p.m. Pizza and wings! Okay guys, have a good night. Talk to you soon. Toodles! And